Okay, today we're going to be simplifying algebra expressions where we have to split fractions up. And I started today during our problem of the day considering this problem. 5/13 plus 7/13. And I asked you if that is the same thing as 5 plus 7 over 13. And we said it is. Those two are exactly the same. We're used to saying that this is 12/13. But how did we get the 12? We added the 5 and the 7. What we're going to do today is we're going to have something like this, and we're going to need to rewrite it as two separate fractions so we can simplify it. And then we'll use the same skills we've done the last 2 days. So let's get right to some examples. You're going to be asked to simplify, and you'll have a problem like this. 5m plus 35 all over 5. Basically what they've done is they've written an algebra expression all over a single common denominator. So based on what I just talked about, I can split this into two new fractions that are both over 5. And whatever this sign is in between on top, that's what goes right here. So then I just fill in the blanks. This is 5m over 5 plus 35 over 5. And now it's exactly what we've done the last 2 days. Now we just need to simplify each of those monomial expressions. So let's look at this first one. Do you see that I can divide the top and bottom by 5? Right? So if I divide the top by 5, it's 1. If I divide the bottom by 5, it's 1. The only thing that's left is an m, right? Or I could say 1m if I wanted to. Okay, there's an m. Plus, the other fraction, can I divide them both by 5? So if I divide the top by 5, I get 7. If I divide the bottom by 5, I get 1. So 7 over 1 is just 7. And there's my answer, m plus 7. Okay? Let's do another example. (26) uv minus 39v all over 13v. Why don't you pause the video and try that one on your own. All right, let's see how you did. First thing we need to do is split it into two fractions. 26 uv over 13v minus 39v over that same 13v. So now I can start simplifying, and on the first fraction everything is written as a product, so I can factor out these v's. They just go away and become 1, and then I can divide the top and the bottom by 13. So 26 divided by 13 is 2, but there's still a u here. 13 divided by 13 is just 1. So I'm just going to have a 2u on that first term. It's technically 2u over 1, but we don't have to write it if it's just over 1. Minus, on the next fraction, those v's go away, and again I divide them both by 13. So the 13's go away. 39 divided by 13 is 3. And there's your answer, 2u minus 3. Okay, let's do one more. (3x to the 4th). This one is going to have 3 terms on top. Minus 9x cubed y plus 6x squared y squared. That's the numerator, and it's all over negative 3 x squared. Now, if I can split it into two fractions, I can split it into three fractions, so long as I put each of those terms in the numerator all over the denominator. So I'm going to have three fractions that all have a negative 3x squared in the bottom. Okay? All three fractions will have that same denominator of negative 3x squared. And what goes in between the fractions are these signs. If that's a minus, this is a minus. And since that's a plus, that's a plus. And then I just fill in the terms. The first fraction is going to be 3x to the fourth over that negative 3x squared. The next fraction is going to be 9x cubed y over that same denominator. And the last one is going to be 6x squared y squared. Okay, we're just splitting it into three fractions. And we're going to simplify each of them separately. So let's start with the first one. On the first fraction, I have a 3 on top and bottom, so I can divide them both by 3. And doesn't that just become 1? Basically, I can just mark these out. They go away. But it is a negative 1 because it's a positive divided by a negative. So this first one has a negative 1. And then I have this x to the fourth and x squared thing that we dealt with the last couple of days. I just subtract my 4 minus 2, which is 2, and I have an x squared. So should that x squared go on top or bottom? No, it goes on the top because the greater power is on top. So I don't have to put it in the denominator. I just have negative 1x squared. Now, on the next fraction, I want you to see something about our signs. If you look carefully, there are two negatives. See those? So since that's two negatives, this next term is going to become a plus. Okay? It's going to change signs to a plus. And then I just simplify the fraction the same way we've been doing the others. I have a 9 and a 3. Can I divide both those by 3? So if I divide the top by 3, I have 3. If I divide the bottom by 3, I get 1. So the number out in front, which we call the coefficient, is just 3. Then I have the x cubed and the y squared. So I just need to subtract the 3 minus 2, which is 1, and I'm going to have an x to the first on top. Remember, with an x to the first, you don't have to put the power. And then I've got this y hanging around, so it just comes along for the ride, and it's on top too. Okay? The last fraction, I have plus and then a negative down there in the bottom. What's that going to become? Just a regular old negative. Okay? And then I simplify the fraction the same way we've been doing. What does 6 over 3 become? 2. And what happens to the x squareds? They completely go away. And then I just have a y squared that remains. And that is my final answer. All three of those terms are different. They are not like terms. So this right here is my final answer. And we will stop there for today.